Hey comic book fans, your pal David here, give you guys another episode of the Comic Fix. Now, it is the best day of the whole entire week. It is Wednesday. It is comic book day, and so let's start off with our comics. Now, I was so happy to hear that this book was coming out, and that is Punk Rock Jesus issue number 2. Now, last month I gave this issue number 1 of Punk Rock Jesus my pick of the month. Now, does this one live up to the hype that number 2 set out? Well, not exactly. It's a little bit of a different book. Where the first book, it was more of a book that was setting up all the pieces to the story. In here, we get to see some more character development coming into the story with the mother of the clone of Jesus, Gwen, and her bodyguard. Now, when all this is going down, you see how Gwen is just breaking down and all the pressure that's put upon her. And she's going to alcohol, and she just doesn't know who she is anymore. And with that, her bodyguard, I think his name's Thomas, they both come together and they form a relationship. Not a physical relationship, but just a good friendship between the two. Now, one of them's going to ask the other to do a really bad thing, and the consequences of that bad thing is going to be epic, and I don't know where this book is going to go. Now, the great thing about this whole entire book is that it's written by the same guy who is drawing the book. So just by one guy, Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, I never read any of his stuff before, but this book is just amazing. Now, some people going into it may be like, where's the action in this book? Well, just know that there isn't any at all in this book. There's more just character development, but it's just done so well. So, in the end, it's not as good as the first issue of Punk Rock Jesus, but this one is just equally, it has so much content in there. But we're just missing that one little element, and I think it has just a bunch of questions that needs to be answered. And I know it's going to be like a 6-issue miniseries, but there's still some questions that I really want answered that was not answered in this issue. So hopefully in the next couple issues we'll get some more answers. So I'm going to be giving Punk Rock Jesus issue number 2 a 4 out of 5. A really good book, and everyone should be checking this book out. It's $2.99 and it's 32 pages, no ads in there, just a really good value for your buck. Next up, American Vampire Lords of Nightmares, issue number 3 of 5. So in this book, Dracula's come back, and when he comes back, he is just taking over all the minds of so many vampires. But in this issue we find out that Dracula can actually take his will and put it upon a human being. Not many, but just about 1 or 2. And in this issue we find out that he's put his will onto a little kid. And when this little kid is attacking his mother and his mother's friend, the kid gets knocked out. The family, they go to the only safety that they know of, and that is this vampire group called the First. Now, this First vampire group is a bloodline that is older than the Dracula bloodline. But there's something special about Dracula, where he can just control everyone around him except for certain bloodlines. So it was just really cool setup in this whole book. There's so much action in there, and the cliffhanger at the end is just so good that you want more. That's what I'm looking for in a comic. This miniseries is just putting so much action and content in there with so much character development that you're just foaming at the mouth wanting more. So there's great plot development, cool action scenes, and the last panel just makes you want more. So with that, I'll give American Vampire Lords of Nightmares a 5 out of 5. Really cool book. Next up is a book that I saw the cover and I was just like, holy shit, that looks like something out of Sin City. And lo and behold, this was an art by Frank Miller just on the cover, and that is The Creep, issue number 1, or issue number 0. So going into it, I was just flipping through it and I was just like, holy cow, I really like this artist. But the story is what just drives this whole entire thing through. It's a story about a young boy who puts a gun to his face and pulls a trigger. The mother, she calls the cops. The cops do nothing. And then lo and behold, that the boy who just committed suicide, his friend committed suicide 2 weeks earlier. Now the cops don't want to look into anything. They just think this is just not a coincidence, that, you know, nothing's going wrong. That was just some sad lost soul that took his own life. But the mother's convinced that something's going on. So she calls upon her college love, who is a detective, and pleads with him, writes a note pleading with him, help me figure out what's going on. And when you see this guy, he has a really almost like a deformed face. He has this disease that makes his bones still keep on growing. And it didn't start until after college, after their love broke. And it's just about this story about this guy just trying to figure out what's going on. Now, there is no action whatsoever in this book. There's more inner dialogue between the character, the detective, and the note that the mother wrote to him. But the way that the panels transfer to one another is just really beautiful to behold. I mean, the flow of this book is really, really nice. But the ending to this book was nothing spectacular. It did not make you want more. So if you were not interested in the story whatsoever, the ending will not make you want to come back and read more. But for me personally, I really got invested in this story and I want to actually figure out what's going on. And hopefully we'll see some more covers by Frank Miller, because that's what caught my eye right off the bat. And just look at this cover. It's really beautiful. It looks like something out of Sin City. And I was just like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I'm glad I did. I'm going to be giving The Creep, issue number 0, a 4 out of 5. Really cool book. I think that everyone should try out. And if it's not your cup of tea, I mean, this is definitely not for the superhero crowd. It's more for the detective or the mystery crowd. So if you're more into the superhero and you're not in the mystery part, don't check out this book, because you'll be disappointed. But for me personally, I really enjoyed it. Next up is a book I've been hearing some really cool things about, and I thought, oh, what the hell, I'll try it out. Scarlet Spider, issue number 8. I really like the cover. I thought the cover was pretty cool. And it's a funny story. Back in the 90s, when I was a little guy, I started reading comics, and the Scarlet Spider was the first one I read. And I used to think that was Spider-Man. You know, that was his suit or whatnot, and then to come find out, oh no, it's not. It's really a clone. But, alright, back to the comic. So, the storyline is very easy. There's nothing really spectacular about the story. The story is that there's these people called the Rangers who are on the hunt for Scarlet Spider. And that's basically about it. You get a bunch of action sequences, a bunch of chase sequences. Nothing really hearty in there for story. But nonetheless, it's actually really fun to read. And I really, when I was reading it, I was just really enjoying it. But at the end of it, when I closed it, I was like, was this really good? Because yes, the action sequences were great. And was a good jumping on point for new readers, because it gave all the stuff that you need to know about Scarlet Spider and what he is doing right now, where he's left New York because he wants to start on his own, and he goes to Houston, thinks, oh, there's nothing wrong, there's no superheroes over there, so I'll go over there, and finds kind of like there is these little F-lister superheroes over there. And so it was a good jumping on point for new readers, but it just didn't have anything to really grab me. Yes, there was good action, but other than that, there was nothing really there to grab me. So I'm going to give Scarlet Spider issue number 8 a 3.5 out of 5. Pretty good book, a lot of cool action, but nothing really hearty there to be had. But does that make me want to actually pick up the next issue? And that's one thing I'm going to have to decide when I see issue number 9 on the stands. Because I don't know, it's a mixed bag. If it's a light week for me, I'll probably pick it up. But other than that, I may just wait for it to be on the dollar bin. Next up is Fantastic Four, issue number 609. This story, I just really couldn't get into it. Because this was an issue where Hickman's going to be leaving the book. And he got a lot of plot lines from previous issues that need to be dealt with. And that's what he does in this issue. Where I have not been with this title for very long. I've only been with this title for about 4 issues now. And I'm enjoying it because it felt like more like one-shots than anything. But in this issue, he was trying to put together some plot lines that he kind of left hanging in this one issue. And so, the Defenders from a future have set on to an astounding adventure, and they need the Fantastic Four's help. And with this adventure, they have to use the bones and the body of Galactus. Now, there is one really cool fight scene between the old Hulk with the white hair, I don't know what's up with him, and the Thing. So, that was a pretty cool scene. There's a scene in there where the Hulk takes Spider-Man, throws him for, as they say, for a mile. And the Hulk, at the end of it, when Spider-Man finally gets back, and he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, Spider-Man's like, oh, don't worry about it. I just hit my head on all the way. So some funny writing to be had. But this was not new reader friendly. So since I haven't been with this book for very long, this storyline I could grasp on what the story is, but I didn't have any investment into it, so it was really a lacking issue for me. Now, if you are a person who's been with Hickman's run on Fantastic Four since the beginning, you'll actually be getting a lot out of this issue. But for me personally, I did not. So I have to give Fantastic Four issue number 608 a 3 out of 5. I would have given it a 2.5, but they do have this new artist on, and damn, is he really good. I mean, I was really enjoying his artwork so much. And I heard that he's going to be only on this issue for about 4 issues. But it's going to be some really cool looking art for 4 issues. So that's it for this video's reviews. In my next video, I'm going to be doing some reviews of, let me get it right here, X-Men Legacy issue number 271, Gambit issue number 1, finally the Bat books, Batman issue number 12, Batgirl issue number 12, and Batman and Robin issue number 12. So if any of those books interest you, and you're a new watcher, subscribe up top, and if you're an old subscriber, like on the bottom. My name's David, and this is The Comic Fix. I'll see you guys on the next episode.